Hello again. In this video I want to show you how you can safely delete Ubuntu partitions or Linux partitions, whichever distro of Linux you've got installed alongside Windows. I'm going to show you how to safely delete Ubuntu and restore the MBR so that it doesn't affect Windows, so you'll still be able to boot into Windows. So for this demonstration I'm going to use a tool called Minitool Partition Wizard. I've already got it installed. The website, sorry, that's the application. The website you go to is partitionwizard.com, and you're going to hit home, get the home version. That works on Windows 7 and Windows 8. Once you've downloaded and installed that, when you run the application, this is what you get. It shows all the partitions on your hard drive. You can see the top one is my D drive, that's my second hard drive. The one beneath that is the C drive, the NTFS. That's where Windows sits. And I created an ext4 partition for Zorin OS, and also a Linux partition, a Linux swap partition, sorry. So I've now decided that I don't need Zorin anymore, because I'm going to try various other distros of Linux. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is right click on the ext4 partition. That's where your Linux or Ubuntu would be sat. You're going to right click, delete, and then the Linux swap partition, right click, delete, and now we're going to expand the rest of the C drive so that it fills the hard drive, and we're going to move resize. Now all you need to do here is drag that slider all the way across, so that means Windows is now going, the C drive is now going to be filling the whole of the hard drive. Just say OK, and up at the top, apply the actions. You'll always get this: apply pending changes. We strongly recommend you turn off power saving feature on your computer and close all other applications before you apply the pending changes. I normally just say yes to that. It's doing its thing. Now that's complete, but now if you were to reboot your computer, you won't boot back into Windows, because when you installed Ubuntu alongside Windows, that altered the master boot record. So what we're going to do now is, on the C drive, just click the icon there. Do you see how when you click on the partition, it's different from clicking on the hard drive itself? Now we need to be on the hard drive, and if you notice here now, we've got a new option. It says rebuild MBR. Just hit that. You can see there that it's put it down at the bottom under operations pending. So now you're ready to apply that. Hit apply, say yes. There you go, it just takes a second, and that's the MBR repaired. So now you'll be able to close off everything. I'll leave the link in the description, by the way, to the Minitool Partition Wizard. It's a fantastic tool. I use it several times a week because I'm always trying different distros from distrowatch.com. I'm a big fan of Linux, but you know, I'm not as big a fan as I am of Windows. You know, Windows is always my primary operating system. So just to demonstrate it, I'm going to reboot. And I won't pause the video. I'll let you see the reboot process, just so you can see that it works. It's taking its time. Now would be a good time to make myself another cup of tea. I'm actually using an old, quite an old machine. It's a Dell Optiplex. There you go, it's turned off now, so I'll just press the button. And then now you won't be prompted with the boot options to boot into Linux or Windows. That's completely gone, and it's repaired the master boot record. Should just boot straight into Windows. Oops, I correct myself. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a second tool. I didn't expect that to happen. That's not happened before. Usually that boot option is gone and you just boot straight into Windows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another tool that will edit that boot menu. You can either edit the boot menu by deleting the Linux from it, or you can tick a box to skip that boot menu completely. So I'll show you what I mean. Sorry if my hand's a bit shaky, it's just that I'm using my mobile phone for this video. I do need to invest in a decent digital camera and a tripod. As you can see, I'm a big fan of M5s. Love BMWs. I'll just let it finish booting up. So if you didn't do that final step in Minitool Partition Wizard, repair the MBR, you wouldn't be able to boot into Windows. Okay, we booted up. So now I've got it installed already. I'll leave the link to this application in the description also. It's called EasyBCD. And it's only a tiny application. Very useful. And very easy to use. Now this is it. This is EasyBCD, and the option that we're going to use is Edit Boot Menu, and you can see that Zorin is still there, and I think it's because when I installed Zorin on the ext4 partition, when I rebooted the computer after the install, it didn't prompt me with a boot menu. So I had to use EasyBCD myself to manually add Zorin OS to the boot menu. So that's why it's still there. So all you do here is just make sure that Windows 7 is set as the default, and then just highlight Zorin or whichever Linux distribution you've got, Ubuntu, Linux Lite, Linux Mint, whichever one, and just hit delete. Yes. And then don't forget to say save settings. And that's it, it's as easy as that. But like I was saying earlier, you could have just ticked skip boot menu, because when you manually add another option to the boot menu, this changes to wait for user selection. So I could have either just left Zorin sat there, it wouldn't have done it any harm. I could have just ticked skip the boot menu and it would have loaded straight into Windows. So now Zorin is gone. I'm just going to say save settings again just to make sure, and that is all there is to it. Two very useful applications. Minitool Partition Wizard and Easy BCD. I'll leave the links in the description. And one final thing, I'll just restart the computer again, just to show you that it worked. I do this several times a week, and nothing has ever affected the way Windows operates. Time to put the kettle on again. Straight into Windows, no boot menu. And that's it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and as always, comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.